Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Facebook Live. I apologize for some technical glitches last week when I wanted to bring you guys some information about sleep and nutrition, and it just didn't look that great once I realized how I was trying to share the information with you. So I do apologize for that, but trying to explore some other options. Was trying to do a different version of sharing a screen. Decided I would jump on and do a Zoom version, record it, and then upload that as well. So it's not technically live, and I do apologize for that. I do like seeing everybody come on live. But just wanted to get back in touch with you guys. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're surviving all of this as well as you can. I know this is difficult times. It continues to be difficult times. Feel like there's no end in sight. But I assure you there will be an end at some point to all this, and hopefully we'll get back to whatever the new normal looks like. I'm sure it will not be what the old normal was, but it will be something newer and hopefully better. But it would be nice to get back to a lot of normal things that we used to do. Weather's getting beautiful outside, so it's nice to be able to get out a little bit, and hopefully some things will start to open up a little bit, which would be nice. But as I again reflect on a lot of these things that are happening, I think it's easy to find all the negativity around us. There's a lot of opinions on how things should have been done, how they should be done now, how they didn't get done. Should we do this? Shouldn't we do that? There's a lot of different opinions out there, which is great. That's why we all have our own free will to think that way and feel that way. But it is hard to sometimes not get caught up with the negativity of it. And, I think that's the one thing that would be nice to overcome a lot more and see more positivity out there. And, that really comes down to a mindset, and whether that's through a crisis or whether that's through any situation that we deal with, it always comes down to mindset and how you look at things and your perspective of things and what you choose to do to react to it. So I think character is built on how we react to situations, not necessarily the situation that we're dealt with. And I think character comes out a lot in situations like this, good or bad. But it's a great opportunity for us to be able to react the way that we feel should be reacted to. So, again, I'll get off my soapbox for that for a minute. But I think one of the other things that's kind of neat during this time is I have noticed a lot of different things happening, right? So we're all kind of locked in. Weather's a little bit nicer, so we can get out of the house a little bit. But technically, we're all kind of locked in right now. And I think, we're all making different choices and having different perspectives when it comes to our health and nutrition and wellness right now. That's kind of what I'm gearing up to talk to you guys about. So we talked a little bit about different aspects last week. Those of you that jumped on and saw, if you want to go back on my live Facebook feed page or page feed, you can see, on mulliganphysicaltherapy.com, you'll see some information I share about sleep and how detrimental that is to us because we don't get enough of it. So a few other aspects we'll talk about today, but overall in general, I think, people are making choices right now, right? They're either staying lazy or staying uninterested or unmotivated to be able to do things to help themselves. And again, whether you like it or not, we all have more time on our hands. So it's up to us how we choose to use that. So I think it's been very encouraging to see a lot of people who are choosing to use that in a positive way. People that haven't been exercising before, they now all of a sudden have more time. So they're trying to make use of that time. And they're also finding other ways to do it. So maybe some people don't like going to a gym. They don't like that setting. They don't like being in an environment where there's a gym and they get intimidated. So now they can do it in the privacy of their own home. And there are lots of different avenues. There's been some great resources out there from gyms and fitness centers and personal trainers and other resources that people have been utilizing to do a home workout. And I think it's been amazing. And I throw props out to my wife, who's been really committed to her exercise routine. She's been doing it every day. She's been logging on to her gym and doing exercise routine. So she's been doing great with that. And I know there's some that aren't taking advantage of it. And again, there's different reasons we all have for that, whether it's illness, injury, lack of motivation. I know a lot of people are dealing with depression, anxiety. Those are all factors that fit into why we don't do things. But I think it's a great opportunity to see some of this stuff coming. And I think it's really going to change forever the face of health, wellness, and nutrition and fitness, because I think a lot of people may just stay home and exercise. And there's a lot of people that are anxious to get back out and exercise. So what I want to do today is talk to you and share with you guys a little bit about another aspect of nutrition and health. And I'm going to actually share the screen here with you and pull up a little PowerPoint here. So what I want to do here is talk to you guys again. Now, last week I talked to you a little bit about, we call it a healthy hour. I typically have these in my office. This is regarding a company that I started working with about 3 years ago. So again, I'm a physical therapist. I own a physical therapy practice in Newtown. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist, but I do have a lot of knowledge in the industry of health, wellness, and fitness. So it's what I do every day. I've tried to incorporate more of the nutritional component of things over the last couple of years since I've been working with this company, and I found it to be a real benefit and a great tool to use with my patients, gaining myself some knowledge and giving my patients, again, another tool to use for their health and their wellness. So most people are coming to me for some condition that's affecting those aspects of their life. As we talk about things, I'll find out that they can't sleep well. They don't have energy. They can't lose weight like they want to. They can't exercise like they want to. And again, there's so many various different reasons why that is the case. But if people have the right tools in their hand, I believe that anything is possible. But if they don't have the right tools, then they're kind of searching and trying to figure out, okay, what do I do then? How do I do this? I'm so frustrated because this doesn't work, this doesn't work, this doesn't work. All these gimmicks, all these things, and things just don't seem to work for people. So if you find something that's working, stick with it. And if you're getting the results that you want, then that's really the basis for it. So again, I'm not trying to be on here and sell anything. I'm only trying to share information with the people that I care about. So I care about my patients, I care about my friends, I care about those of you that are watching this, and I just want to share information with you. So again, getting back to, what are we talking about here? Well, health and nutrition, there's various aspects to it. So one of the things we talk about is hydration. Okay, so if you look at this slide again, I shared this last week. Those of you who jumped on last week, I appreciate you hanging in there with the technical glitches and all. And I hope you'll watch this as well for just some information. There's different areas of health and nutrition, and kind of you can break it down into some of these. I mean, you can research and Google anything you want anymore and find different areas of this. I'm just sharing my perspective on it. So hydration, sleep, energy, physical activity, weight loss and management, and nutrition itself, which is again, micro and macronutrients. The micro being the vitamins, the minerals that help our body process things and produce things well. And the macronutrients being your carbohydrates, proteins, fats, all those things. So those are general areas that affect our health and nutrition overall globally. We talked about sleep last week. So today we're going to talk a little bit about hydration. So again, we mentioned last week, those of you that were watching, that sleep deprivation is kind of an epidemic in our country, at least. I don't know, it may be worldwide, but the facts show that sleep deprivation is very, very prevalent. And if you look at this and some of the information I'm going to share today, we find that hydration is also in that category. 75% of Americans are dehydrated. What does that look like? Well, our muscles and our blood is mostly made up of water. So if we're not hydrating those things, those are two aspects that are kind of taking a hit. So what does dehydration look like? Well, we're going to talk a little bit about what is hydration, what does dehydration look like, and what do we need to do to help fix the problem. So again, we're presenting a problem, the problem being dehydration and how we all seem to suffer from that, or a lot of us do. And then the solution is something else we need to talk about. So a lot of different aspects of what and why hydration is important. So water is essential for life. It's in every cell of our body. Every cell needs water to survive, to thrive, and to reproduce, and to do what we need our body to do. So those of us that are younger are filled with more of water. Those of us that are older have a little bit less. And we'll talk about that for a little bit. So again, as we age, our body's water volume decreases. So just one of these other wonderful things of happening as we age, that decreases as well as some other things that we don't want to decrease. So we're more likely to become dehydrated more quickly as we age. Medications, prescriptions can have a big impact on your hydration. So those are other things that can factor into that. More than 50% of all children and adolescents are not adequately hydrated. So I'm just going to stop there for a second. Anybody that has children in their home right now, just think about that statement for 1 minute. So 50% are not adequately hydrated. Now, you take that 50% and you think about your own household and the activities and the sports that your kids may or may not be involved in, right? Now, you throw a kid who's already 50% not adequately hydrated onto a soccer field, onto a baseball or softball field, onto a football field. What do you think that kid is doing now that they're running around expending all this energy, sweating, and losing their water capacity. So it's kind of interesting thing to think about, especially if you look at the other one that says boys are 76% more likely to be less hydrated. So dehydration is what occurs when we don't have enough water in our body, and it's when the body loses fluids and electrolytes faster than we can replace them. So why else is it important? Everyone needs to drink 8 glasses of water per day, right? Well, that's not exactly true. So you'll hear me talk a lot about how everybody is an individual. There's no one size fits all. Well, the same thing comes to hydration. So there's a lot of recommendations out there. And again, if you Google things, you'll find all kinds of stuff that talks about, you know, how much should I drink? What should I drink? All these things. But the bottom line is there's no cookie cutter approach again. So there's recommendations and guidelines based on a lot of research. But again, really comes down to, it depends on your body size and the energy that you expend based on how much water you should be taking in. Also takes into account really your medical history and some of the conditions you deal with, because you may need to take in less or more based on those things. Drinking water can flush out toxins in your body. So again, if we're not getting enough water in our body, how are we flushing out those things? You don't want those toxins in there. They just lead to inflammation, other things that just don't make you feel good. So we want to get rid of them. Drinking water does not help you lose weight. Is that true or false? Well, I think there's not a lot of clear-cut answers on that. So it's not a weight loss tool. What it can do is if you drink more water before you eat a meal, you're going to feel more full and probably won't eat as much. The other thing is it probably is a good way to help you cut off some of the other unhealthy drinks you may have been drinking if you start to focus more on water. So in those ways, it can help you lose weight, or it's more of a, again, a tool towards losing weight, but it's not a weight loss management or mechanism. Dehydration can impair our function. So if we're dehydrated by only 3%, it can impair our short-term memory, our psychomotor ability, and visual perception. So again, start to think about those athletes a little bit as they're getting dehydrated. Visual perception, psychomotor ability, those things are really coming into play just by being dehydrated 3%. So what is dehydration? Dehydration can lead to a lot of different things. It can cause reduced proper muscle contraction and cramping after exercise. We've all experienced that. Muscle cramping, what do people say? A bunch of different things. Bottom line is most of the time there's a lack of hydration to those muscles or to your body to help the muscles feel better. It's critical to start and end the day with water. Why? Because think about it. We kind of got dehydrated all night long. When you sleep, that's probably the longest period of time of your entire day that you're not drinking or eating anything. So it only stands to reason that if you separated yourself from food or drink for 6, 5, whatever hours you get, we talked about that last week, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours or more for teenagers, that's a long time to go without eating or drinking anything in your body. So when you wake up, you're already dehydrated because you've lost a lot of fluid in your body from breathing and from urination. So those two components already, you're kind of waking up behind the ball. So you need to get drinking quickly to get your body rehydrated through the morning and through the beginning part of the day. And we all know that hydration after exercise is very, very important. Why? Because we're losing so much from sweating and from all the activity. But did you know that you can also decrease your performance by 50% by being dehydrated? So again, go back to those athletes. Think about any of the kids in your family that are playing, yourself if you're playing. Think about, a 2-day weekend tournament, whether it's basketball, volleyball, baseball, softball, whatever it is. That's a lot of games in a strand of 2 days. And if you're at the third game of the day and you really haven't drank enough, how do you think your performance is going to be by that last game? So those are important things to think about. Other effects, decreased energy and brain function, loss of nutrient and transports to cells. This one's important, poor regulation of blood sugar and insulin levels. So this is really important in people who have diabetes. So when you're a diabetic, if you lose more water than you need and become dehydrated, you have a real risk of becoming, not necessarily going into diabetic coma or shock, but you're at higher risk of doing that if you don't rehydrate quickly enough to help those things out. Electrolytes, what are those for? What do we use them for? They regulate our body systems. They assist in muscle contraction, regulate pH levels, conduction nerve impulses. Our bodies need adequate electrolytes to help us function properly and perform our best. So where do we get those? Mostly we get those from fruits and vegetables. And you can see some of the list of things here. Those are just a few things. There's more things that they're in that we get them from. I didn't want to list them all. But the bottom line is, if you look at this list, what is the one thing that's missing? It's water. So yes, hydrating with water is a great option, but what is the one thing we're missing by just taking in water is the electrolytes. So therefore, how do we replenish them? So if we're all great fruit and vegetable eaters, great. You might be getting enough. But again, if you're eating fruits and vegetables in your normal diet and you go out and you play a 2-hour sport, or you're in a 2-hour game, or you have an all-day tournament, or you're working in the yard for 3-4 hours, guess what? Chances are you're still losing those electrolytes and need to replenish them somehow. And if you just keep chugging water down, you're not replacing those pieces. So where else do we get electrolytes? I bet if I could see a hand raised up, everybody would have a G word that they would go to first, which is one of the biggest names in sports drinks ever, which is one option. So I'll give you a little bit of background on me when it comes to water, and I'm sorry if I used the Jersey version of water instead of water. So for me, I like flavor. I like things that taste good, and water is just not one of them. I've never been a good water drinker ever. Just never liked the flavorless of that. So I unfortunately leaned on a lot of sodas and sweet drinks and iced teas and all those kinds of things that are not great for you, but they tasted good to me. So fortunately, I'm pretty conscious about, maintaining certain weight levels and trying to make sure that I'm not overdoing things. So I never fell into a big problem with doing that. I did start to realize that it wasn't the best thing for me, wasn't the healthiest thing for me. And even before I started working with this health and nutrition company here, I started to recognize the fact that, I need to cut out these Mountain Dews and iced teas every day. And the other problem was I wasn't even drinking that much. I mean, I would have maybe a 16-ounce, bottle of soda or iced tea in the morning that I would drag out the entire morning, and maybe one in the afternoon, and I might not even finish it. So I knew I was definitely not getting enough fluids in me anyway. And what I was taking in was not a healthy option. So I started to explore different options of, flavored waters and the powders and the drops that you put in water and shake it up and do all that. And I honestly never really found anything that I liked. I did it because I thought it was a better option, but I didn't like the taste of it. I never did. I kind of suffered through it. And again, I could go to water, but I just don't like it. So I started trying to figure out, okay, is there something else out there that I could do? And then, fortunately, when I came across this ID Life company, they have a great option. And I said, you know what have I got to lose? I've tried almost everything else out there. I know the good stuff. I like the Gatorades. I liked all the sports drinks. I liked all that stuff because it has good flavor to me. But I'm trying to find something that's a little bit healthier option so that I can feel better. So here's a couple things to look at, just to think about. So when it comes to, these sports drinks, these various sports drinks that we all know and love, they do taste good. But here's part of the reason why they taste so good. If you look at this little label here and you see what is actually in them, there's a lot of different things in there. And I think, they had it right. They were trying to help us with this whole electrolyte problem that we're talking about. They recognize the fact that, hey, water is just not doing it. We need those electrolytes. We need those things to help replenish us to perform our best. And if you look at the history of, Gatorade as the first one that came out, we all know where it started, how it started, but it was really designed more for that elite athlete, the college Division I player. It wasn't really necessarily designed for our kids' recreational and travel sports. But what happened is that's who's consuming these most of the time. So when you look at, it tastes good, it's got sugar in it. We got to put sugar and artificial things in it to make it taste good, so they'll drink it. That's unfortunately where we're at. So if you really think about yourself, your household, your friends and their household, what do their kids drink when they go play sports? Now, my kids have always been very good at drinking water, much better than me. But I know there's a lot of kids that don't even reach for water ever. And when they're playing sports all day, they're drinking all this sugar, and they're not getting really healthy options. So this whole world of sports drinks has just blown up in probably even the last 5 years. There's been so many other options that's out there now. I know they're offering lower calorie and sugar-free and all these different things. What I would just recommend is just always read the labels, because the labels tell you a whole lot that the advertisement doesn't. And the problem is usually if they're going to cut the calories out, cut the sugar out, they're probably going to replace it with something else. And the something else might be either artificial sweeteners, artificial ingredients, artificial flavoring, something in there. They may up the sodium levels tremendously, which is what a lot of things do. They may increase the sugar levels more. So just be careful of what you're looking at and what you're trying to find. So as we look into a comparison here, I'll show you a few things here, okay? So here's a lot of the big name brands that are out there. And again, I know there's so many more now than what I'm even listing here. I'm just kind of showing you a little example. So the biggest thing you want to look at is the calories. 125 calories, that's a lot of calories for one little drink. And then you look at the comparison all the way down here. This is 10. This is ID Life's Hydrate, which is basically their healthy version of these sports drinks. The next thing that always seems to pop up is the sugars. That's a lot of sugar. And if you were to see what your actual sugar intake should be for the day, check it out, because you'll be surprised that you're getting more of it in one drink. No sugar in this one at all. And then the other one that usually hits up high is the sodium levels. So sodium is one of the things we're trying to replenish, potassium and sodium, with losing these electrolytes. But again, if you're getting too much of that, it's not helping your body to recover and perform its best. So we want to make sure that we're trying to do healthier options here, right? So again, we had a problem, hydration. I just showed you, we definitely have a problem with hydration. We need to rehydrate our bodies much more than we ever did. We have lots of options out there. So why not pick something that's healthy for you? So again, I really admire this company for the products and the way they've gone about how they produce their items. Everything is all natural. There's no artificial ingredients, no artificial colors. It's sugar-free. And it tastes really good. And again, I can tell you firsthand, as a person who loves sugar and loves sweet things and really took my time in trying to figure out what can I drink that's better than soda and other sweet drinks that actually tastes good and is better for me and doesn't have aspartame or some of these other artificial ingredients. I got to tell you firsthand, I love the taste of it, and it actually tastes good. It doesn't taste like a diety water or anything else to me. It has good flavor, and I know that I can drink this. This is pretty much what I drink every day now, all day. And the nutrition facts on this, again, I showed a little bit over there, but there's also a lot of good vitamins in these. I know some of the vitamin waters and some of the other water components, they've started to add vitamin components in, which is great. But I know, again, this one has no sugar. There's nothing unhealthy in it for me. So that's why I've chose to use this. And I think it's a great option. So again, do I feel like I'm selling you on something? If I am, it's only because I'm passionate about this company, how they've approached nutrition and health, and what it's done for my life personally. So I'm just trying to share information with people because I think it's valuable information. You can take with it what you want, but just be cautious of what's out there. Again, hydration is a big, big market out there. So they've seemed to capitalize on some great options for that hydration market, that sports drink market. And I just want to share that with you guys. So again, hydration is one part of the key components of health and nutrition, right? So we talked about last week, those of you who jumped on, the physical inactivity in our nation and how detrimental that is to our health and all the health problems that are led up to because of being physically inactive. So again, how do we put all this together? Okay, so if I can't sleep well and I'm not drinking enough and I don't stay hydrated enough, how is it impacting everything else? And what do I do with the other little pieces that I'm missing in between? Well, the great part is that, again, there's not a lot of things out there that I've seen, and I've tried to research different things to offer, again, to my patients as options for optimizing their health and their wellness and their well-being. I haven't seen anything like this, and that's why I wanted to share it with those around me. So typically when we look at nutrition, again, those of you that understand the necessity for supplementation, that's great. I'm glad you understand that. There's a lot of people that don't understand how important that is. And took me a while to figure that out. But once I did, I'm 100% turned around now and understand that, yes, even if we eat healthier items, we still don't know exactly what we're eating all the time. This is a great time in our nation's history right now, honestly. We're eating out way less. So I think it gives us a great opportunity to be able to understand, what are we cooking? What are we putting in the food that we're making at home? Are we spending more time cooking dinner at home? Or are we spending more time, out of just rushing through the day and saying, let's just throw in this, fake pizza in the oven and eat that, or let's throw in some other artificial ingredients in and eat that as well. If you think about any fast food restaurant that you go to, and we still go to them as a family, and I know they're not the healthiest option, but I don't think anybody comes out of any of those restaurants and says, wow, that was a really nutritious meal. I think most of us realize, wow, that really wasn't so great to eat. So if you think about that and how often we do eat out, and again, now's a little bit different time, but even eating out of a restaurant that you're having a good meal, we still don't really know how it was prepared or what's in it or what artificial things they did or didn't put in it to prepare it. It may taste great and it's probably a better option than fast food, but still there's still things missing in there. So if we don't get it from our regular dietary intake, where are we getting these nutrients? Where are we getting these minerals and these vitamins that we're supposed to get in our food that they're just not there anymore? And why are they not there anymore? Because things are different. Things are different. We have GMOs all the time. Everything's synthetic. We have artificial everything in so many items. And even if we go to the healthy options, fruits and vegetables, why are they different? Because the soil's different. The air is different. You know, it's not the same nutritional value of these nutritional foods that it used to be years ago because things are just different. So again, if we're going to eat fruits and vegetables and try to gain all that nutrition, that's great. But what if that nutrition's not actually in it anymore? But we think it is. So we're still missing. So why do we go towards a supplement? Well, we go towards a supplement because we know that we need to supplement our body with something. That's why they're called supplements. We're not getting it somewhere, so we need to find somewhere else to get it. And again, the reason I really love this company is because they found a way to do this. They took all the guesswork out of it. There's so much guessing when it comes to this. And I talk to patients all the time about this. A lot of them are taking multiple different vitamins and supplements and different things to help them feel better. They're taking something for their joints and something for their cholesterol and something for their heart, all these different items. And the common thing I keep finding with every one of these patients or people even that I talk to is, well, how did you decide that that's what you need? Oh, well, I read it somewhere. Somebody told me I should do this. My doctor did tell me I should take more vitamin D. You know, there's a lot of various things, but the main common thing that keeps coming up is a lot of it's guessing. We're guessing. I don't know. Maybe I should take this. Maybe I should take that. Well, that's the thing I love about this company is they took all the guesswork out of it. They did years and years of research to find out what kind of tool can we use to figure out what is the best options for people to optimize their health. And they came up with this health assessment. It's a free assessment. It's a HIPAA compliant health assessment. So it's a legitimate medical record that's protected. And it asks questions about your lifestyle. You know, how much sunlight do you get? How much exercise do you do? How much fruits and vegetables do you eat? And then it takes in really serious components of what is your medical history and medical conditions and what's your family medical conditions? What's your medications that you're taking? Those two components alone really changes the game because they have a big impact on how they interact with natural nutrients and supplementation. And most people don't realize that. So you kind of took all the guesswork out of it. So I 100% trust the company and the medical scientific board that's behind it. So for me personally, I take the assessment, I trust what they're telling me to take, and I follow the guidelines. And it's that simple. And for most people, how's that any different than grabbing that multivitamin off the shelf and saying, okay, well, I'll take this because the bottle says take 2 pills right now. So you're trusting the source. I'm trusting the source. And I just wanted to share that with you guys. So if anybody has any questions, if they have any comments, if they'd like to try any samples of the Hydrate, I would love to connect with you. I would love to share them with you. Please let me know. Give me a private message or make a comment in the box below. But I would love to talk more about it with you guys. So I appreciate your time. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to try next week as well to tackle another topic since we're already on the topic of drinks. I thought it might shift over to energy drinks, which is another big hot topic out there, big market. And I'll share some things about that might be interesting to you guys. So thank you for your time. I appreciate you logging in here and checking things out. And I hope you have a good rest of the day and enjoy your day. Take care.